It feels like the Giants have multiple directions they can go in, and they just don't know which direction they want to go in. Do they want to commit to these young guys? Well, okay, then why are you taking them out in the ninth inning and bringing in Mark Canha? Are we trying to compete for playoff spots? Well, okay, then where do the young guys fit in on that one? It's just, it seems like they're just being pulled in two different directions right now, and it's just like Shannon Rubin said yesterday, they're a little too timeline-y right now, and the Warriors struggle with their own two timelines plan, and the Giants are doing far worse, I think, at their two timelines plan.
Well, we're going to see them because the Cincinnati Reds are a young team, and we saw a couple All-Stars from them this season. Hunter Green, good young pitcher from SoCal. He throws nothing but heat. Abbott today is a really good pitcher. I like Abbott a lot. He's got a 3.38 ERA for the Cincinnati Reds this season. They've got a nice young core. They have a nice young core, but they're in fourth place as well. They're 52-56. Have the same amount of losses as the Giants. Same amount of losses as the Giants.
Giants just got two more wins. So
basically.
54-56.
Yeah. So two tied in loss column game back of the Giants because of the two more games or the two extra games the Giants have played so far. So a big-time series for the Giants, and I think it's big for Kyle Harrison. Let's start with him. We talk about the youngsters here. You look at his last three starts. He has been sensational. Now, two of those starts have come against the Colorado Rockies. Well, Kyle Harrison, he could pitch against the Rockies. There's no doubt about that. But this ballpark, which is in bandbox. Now, Cincinnati doesn't hit for average at all. They strike out a lot, but if they get on base, they got a lot of speed on this team, and they can hit the long ball if they do connect. Kyle Harrison, I think this is the biggest start of the season for him, to start this road trip off with the bang. Now, you're in Cincinnati for 3, and then you go to Washington for 4. And it's going to be hot. Going to be really, really hot. Would you look at what Kyle Harrison has done over the last 3 games? Look, he had the rough start in Cleveland coming off the IL with the ankle injury. He only goes 3 1/3 of an inning, but then he goes 5 1/3 against Minnesota. Gives up 1 run, strikes out 6. He goes against Colorado, 5 innings, 6 strikeouts, did walk 4, but he didn't give up a single run at Coors Field.
Which is not nothing, by the way. 5 shutout innings at Coors Field.
No.
I don't care how bad the Rockies are. If you can throw a shutout for 5 innings or more at Coors Field, like you're doing something right.
You're doing something well. And then you got Colorado at home, and you go 6 2/3, you give up 1 run, and you struck out 11. That was a game I attended. He was dynamic that day. He was electric. So 3.69 ERA. He's lowered his ERA in his last 3 starts. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens today as he goes on the road. It takes on a young Cincinnati team. Now, has the hype dissipated on Elly De La Cruz? Because last year he was the talk of the town. And he's still making some great plays. He's batting .262 this year. He's got the 18 home runs and the 45 RBIs. But, boy, he's got 55 stolen bases. Do the Giants even have 55 stolen bases as a team?
I don't think they do, no.
Seriously.
That tells you everything you know. No, I mean, Elly De La Cruz, I think there's still some excitement about him. When I still see him in the lineup, I'm not going to lie, I'm jealous that the Reds have him. I would love to have a player like Elly De La Cruz on the Giants.
Hold on. This is crazy. We're not to cut you off, Lubman, but the Giants have 38 stolen bases as a team.
Really, that many? Matt Chapman has been your stolen base leader this year.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good.
But to that point, though, Bonte, and this is something, I don't want to get too deep on the stolen base
Cincinnati, real quick, 156 stolen bases on the season.
What's up about the stolen bases, though, the only thing that keeps me from really losing my mind about the lack of stolen bases the Giants are getting is ever since they moved into this ballpark, they have finished in the top 10 in stolen bases 3 times.
Yeah.
Twice they were 10th, and then once they were 8th. So my frustration there, it's a little bit not as intense just because the Giants have never really built teams around speed over the 25 years they played at 3rd and King. That said, though, where it does get me frustrated is, well, then why not start now, though?
Yeah, you should start now.
It's easier to steal a base now than it ever has been in baseball. You have bigger bases. You got rules for how often you can throw out. You could try and pick off runners. Like, if you could get a pitcher to, throw over twice, then you're gone as soon as the ball leaves his hand. You got to be more aggressive there. I would love to see Tyler Fitzgerald if they keep him in the leadoff spot, which classic Giants, they have him bat leadoff on Tuesday and they throw him, I think, the 6th or 7th spot on Wednesday, which is like, you wonder why I'm worried here. But I would like to see Fitz get on, try and use his speed a little bit more. He is the fastest guy on the bases. I've talked to him about that. And, earlier on in the year, he was kind of like, I think, dealing with some hesitation with, when to go and when not to go. When you're a rookie, obviously, you're going to be, especially on this team, you're going to be looking over your shoulder a lot.
Looking over your shoulder all day long here. So,
but I feel like you're starting to see Fitz get a little bit more confident on the base pass there. So that's something I want to see kind of develop these next.
And I want
to
see the Giants start to develop speed and get more speed and athleticism on his football. Sounds like I'm talking about the Warriors, where you want speed and athleticism and size or whatnot.
Yeah.
Young athletic guys, you need speed. And in baseball right now, you do need a little speed. But if you can't get power hitters to come here, and if you can't sign power hitters to come here, then why not try to develop 5-tool players? Guys who could get first to home, second to home, first to third, turn it to singles and to doubles.
We used to call it the ground attack.
Exactly. You get a double here, but you know what? I'm going to stretch it out to a triple. We need guys like that. Now, the frustration with Giants fans, where is it at right now? Because we had a day off to kind of cool our jets, take a break from the Giants after what has been an exhausting week of Giants baseball. Let's be real. Even though they went 5-1 on this homestand, just everything's centered around the trade deadline. Everything we've heard about the baseball team, it's a lot going on here, right? So Farhan's telling the other station, we expect Kyle Harrison and Hayden Birdsong to be in the rotation the rest of the way. So sounds like to me, there's going to be no innings limit. They're going the rest of the way.
Well, that's kind of interesting, though, that he would say that because, when I asked Bob Melvin about that on Tuesday after Farhan's presser, I asked him about that. He kind of gave an answer that to me felt like it's a wait and see approach, or we're gonna monitor them as they go along. He didn't want to say any sort of hardcore innings limit or make any promises. It's just we're gonna see how these things develop throughout the rest of the year and make adjustments as we need to. So now I'm kind of starting to wonder are Farhan and Bob on the same page with how they're gonna stretch these guys out over these last 2 months?
Sounds like they're not on the same page. Farhan also said he's going to point to the pitching. The offense is a little more of a question mark with the guys we have. We can get a couple guys hot and healthy. Even the best offenses, you're going to have good series and bad series. The one thing that can keep you competitive is great starting pitching. So we'll see about that. But Fleming joined us. What was it, Wednesday? Dave Fleming joins us every single week, courtesy of the River Islands guest line. Fleming joined us. And again, will it be disappointing if they don't make the playoffs? Here's Flem's answer.
To me, the season is going to end in disappointment if they're not in the playoffs. I will be very disappointed if they're not in. Does that mean what you're implying? I don't know. They're in a weird spot right now. They are. And all of this, I've said this to you guys before, all of this is also framed by what's happening in LA.
Yep.
It's like, it's really hard to stomach. And we were just down there again. And I can't tell you how frustrating it is to be down there and to watch the whole thing. It just is. It's just a bad contrast right now. And one thing that I would like to see from the Giants, all of us, everybody, is to start taking that a little more personally, to start being a little more pissed off at what's happened down there. And the fact that year after year, they're sustaining that level of success. And we're trying our best to catch up, but the best so far hasn't been good enough.
That's Fleming the other day. And you could loop in the Padres with that if you want to.
Who have also more or less lapped the Giants multiple times.
I mean, the whole Bob Melvin, A.J. Preller riff looked like Padres are like, hey, we kept the right guy.
Well, let's take a step back here for a little bit. Padres had a really good year under Jace Tingler. And then things fell off the next year.
No doubt.
And then Bob Melvin comes in. Padres had a really good team in 2022. They beat the Dodgers. That was the year they beat the Dodgers in the division series. They had a really good year. And then things fell off in year two. They're having a very fun time with Mike Schilt right now. Let's see how things go in year two. Let's see if A.J. Preller can get past the honeymoon phase because from conversations I've had.
He's redeemed himself. What are you talking about? Honeymoon phase?
They're 4 months under a new manager. He's had Preller's been there for 10 years. He's had like 8 or 9 managers. So let's see what goes on here with the Padres. Because again, like I said, they have kind of a history these last few years of great first year with a manager. Things fall apart with the second year with the manager. From conversations I've had with people, A.J. Preller is kind of a toxic presence in that Padres front office. How much that filters into the clubhouse, where you also got to deal with the Manny Machado situation as well. As great of a player he is, he's kind of a head case. So let's see. It's just the Padres. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, let's see what. But right now they're ahead of the Giants.
They are. No,
we can't start throwing stones.
Overall, right now they are.
Who
ahead.
the hell are we as Giants fans to start talking about what the hell's going on with the San Diego Padres? All right, they got stars. They've got pitchers. They have a vibe. They got a fan base that is all in with this team. And they're winning games, and they're beating up on the Dodgers, and they're hot right now. So the hell, I'm not throwing stones at A.J. Preller. They love A.J. Preller right now down in San Diego. He's eating for free down in the Gaslamp District. So I'm not going to kick on the Padres. We got lapped by them. It don't even make me bring up the Arizona Diamondbacks, who went to the World Series last year. So
they're a laughingstock just 3 years ago.
Who, the Diamondbacks?
Yeah, it was 108 loss season, 21
and then
something
what
like that.
happened?
Yep, they flipped it around.
And then what happened? Who's laughing now?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Who's laughing now? Dave Fleming. Fans have a right to be frustrated right now.
You have the right to be frustrated now, because I am too. This is the San Francisco Giants. This is our ballpark, our franchise, our fan base, the franchise of Bonds and Mays and McCovey and Posey. Like, this is not some second-rate operation. Like, the fact that the Giants have been in the playoffs one time in 8 years is embarrassing. Like, that should not happen. We as a franchise, we are better than this. But if you can remove yourself from that and say, look at all the good things that have happened this year, you can get excited about where this thing can go.
That's Fleming. Can we get excited? Are we excited yet? We got to see it. It's a big 7-game series, and it's pretty ironic that they're playing Cincinnati and Washington, two teams that are basically rebuilding and bringing up their young core. They're bringing up guys. Nationals just brought up James Wood not too long ago. They have C.J. Abrams, a prospect they got over from the San Diego Padres. They've gone to their youth movements, and they played just as well as the Giants have this season and been a bit more exciting than the Giants this season. But Farhan is clearly banking on the rotation to carry this roster. Banking on a rotation to just shut teams down.
Which is interesting because, when we talk about, what is there to get excited about with this team, obviously, look like at the Reds. They got a very fun young core of Ellie De La Cruz, Matt McClain, Will Benson, Hunter Green, who we're going to see tomorrow night, Jonathan India, who has some of the best hair in baseball. That's a young core that you look at, and you're riding with that core right now, for better or for worse. And the Reds know that. The Giants, though, they got a core, too, of, Ramos. We'll see what's going on with Fitzgerald. Wisely showed that he might belong at the big league level. To what degree? We're still trying to figure that out. We've seen, Patrick Bailey, really kind of take hold of that catching position. The Giants have their own group of young guys here that we can get excited about. But then all the focus is on a pitching rotation that, it is pretty homegrown. We got Harrison and Birdsong there. But, when you're talking about the pitching rotation, a lot of those eyes are on Blake Snell and Robbie Ray. So, you're focusing on the pitching rotation, but I feel like the excitement, the eyes, we really should be seeing more focus on what these young hitters are going to be bringing to the table going forward there. But right now, I just the feeling I get is just, I'm sure if we were to play the Truth Serum game, I love playing that game. If you can inject them with Truth Serum and ask one question, who do you like more, that Reds core or that Giants core? I feel like Farhan Zaidi would kind of say, honestly, I wish I could have that Reds core right now.
Yeah, you think?
And that's no disrespect to the core the Giants have right now, though. It's just they're not showing that same kind of flash that we've seen with what the Reds core has shown.
You're right. Ellie De La Cruz, we saw him last year. He's box office.
By the way, him versus Bailey this weekend, that'll be fun to watch. I know Bailey, last year, he was really looking forward to facing off against Ellie, so that's going to be a very fun one to see.
When you just look at the Reds as a whole, again, we just mentioned that the Giants have 38 stolen bases as a team. 38 stolen bases this year. 38. Ellie De La Cruz, 55. Spencer Steer, 17. Jake Fraley, 14. Stuart Fairchild, 13. Will Benson, 13. You brought up Jonathan India. He's got 10.
Those would be team leaders on the Giants.
They've got 6 guys in double figures when it comes to stolen bases. 6 guys. And so we'll see. And then they have some young pitcher now. They did give up Frankie Montas, the former Oakland A. They gave him up to, I believe, Milwaukee. But they're pitching. They've got some young pitching. They got some flamethrowers there. Hunter Green's got a 2.97 ERA, 1.05 whip, 138 strikeouts and 124 innings. Andrew Abbott, who we'll see today, another young pitcher for the Cincinnati Reds. He's not bad. He's a lefty. We'll see what happens this weekend against the Cincinnati Reds. But Get Big Caps and Big Facts ready, Sam Lubman. Let's get that right. I see the 49er helmet here. But Giants, we'll see what happens. We're in wait-and-see mode with them. We're not going to – look, we're frustrated as hell about this team. We are. Scoring 3 runs against the A's in 2 games, not good enough. You barely scraped by, split the series. You needed a sac fly to score a run in that game Wednesday night.
You need a shutout from Logan Webb.
But we will keep our eyes on the Giants because if they don't, if this rotation doesn't perform the way Farhan expects them to perform, then what the hell happens for Farhan? This is going to be fascinating to see down the stretch here with the San Francisco Giants.
Yeah, before we move on to Big Cap, Big Fast, I want to play one more Fleming cut here where you kind of talked about how a season like this would have been much better to have a couple years ago.
If this year had happened 2 years ago, everybody would be ecstatic. Not at the record, but the stuff that you're talking about, Birdsong, Harrison, Bailey, Fitzgerald, Ramos, maybe Matos, and there are other young guys who have contributed. Jung-Hoo Lee, before he got hurt, looking like, okay, that can be a guy who can play out there for the next 5 years. There is now a core of young Giants who you feel like this can be the next really good Giants team. These guys can be the heart and soul of it. We have not said that for a long time. Like it's been since the championship era that we've been able to say that. That's the missing piece for this franchise. That's the ultimate thing. As much as, it's fun to chase after Judge and Harper and Carlos Correa and all these guys, that's how you get to where you want to go. And finally, we've had a year where that is starting to happen. Has it happened enough? No. But these guys, some of these guys especially, are really young, just starting their journeys. This would be a year. It's just frustrating that it's taken so long to get here.
Year 6 that is taken. Year 6, Lubman.
And what I want to kind of refute is this notion that, like, he needs more time. Like, 6 years is enough time to turn things around.
Oh, my God.
It feels like, Faith, you can say, are the Giants behind schedule? Sure. Did the pandemic play a role in that? Maybe. I think that only gives you so much leeway. Like, to say the pandemic set you back 2 years, like, I get it. The pandemic ruined a lot of things. But
we can't, hold on, real quick. Hold on. Because I keep hearing this. The pandemic really set the Giants back. Everybody in baseball had to shut down operations during the pandemic. So why do the Giants get this excuse that,
see, I don't think that excuse died a while ago. You can't say that we're 2 years behind because of the pandemic. If you were like a year behind, maybe. But, Bonte, I was looking at, in 2018, the Giants were the 10th worst record in baseball. There were 9 teams that finished with records worse than them. You had the Blue Jays, the Reds, the Rangers, the Padres, the Tigers, the Marlins, the White Sox, the Royals, and the Orioles. Since then, the Orioles, the Padres, the Rangers, they've completely turned their stuff around. The Royals, you're finally starting to see it this year. Bobby Witt Jr., he's big time, probably the best shortstop in baseball right now. The Reds, we're kind of seeing where things are at with them right now, but they've kind of turned things around to a better situation since where they were at the end of 2018. Like, all those teams who were behind the Giants at the end of that 2018 season when we saw the Giants move off of Sabian and Evans and on to Farhan Zaidi, those teams have passed you. Wow. The teams that have, not gotten any better right now, well, first, the Blue Jays, they're probably in a better spot right now, but we'll see kind of where they go in this next year or so because they're kind of buried in a very difficult division. But other than that, though, the only team since, 2018, or the only team since Farhan arrived here that haven't really turned things around, you got the Tigers, the White Sox, and the Marlins. Now, the Tigers, they've been trying. They're very similar situations to the Giants, I believe, in that, they've been trying to build internally. The development just hasn't caught on as quickly as it has. Spencer Torkelson hasn't really become anything like we expected. Riley Green shows some flashes. Tariq Skubal looks like an absolute ace. So they got something there. But the Marlins and the White Sox are absolutely embarrassments right now. And they've been, the White Sox had that 1 year in 2021, but you knew that they were going to be an easy out.
Well, they hired Tony La Russa, and they kind of set back their program, and all of a sudden, Jose Abreu got old overnight.
It fell apart fast for them. Yeah,
he can't stay healthy.
They've had some flashes here and there, but basically, the only teams that have not been able to turn their stuff around in the last 6 years are teams that are basically embarrassments to baseball right now. I
agree.
Like, that's the company that you are keeping right now. So this idea of, he still needs time to build this up. There are teams that have not only Like you look at the Diamondbacks, they were up at the top there at the end of 18, then they went down, and then they went back up again. Like, teams have gone through full rebuilds and gotten back into contention in the time it's taken for the Giants to get to a point where they have a core that we might be able to get excited about.
Yeah,
so, no, I refute this notion that Farhan needs more time, and unfortunately, he's probably going to get it.
No, I don't know about that. I'm not so sure about that. I'm not so sure if he's going to get another season to try to fix it, especially if they fall flat on their face. So I'm looking at the September schedule again. It depends how it ends. How does it end for the Giants?
Yeah.
Do the youngsters slump their way to the end of the season? Does the rotation just fall apart? I'm going to wait and see on Farhan Zaidi. And not to mention, he signed Jung-Hoo Lee.
And that, you want to talk about being set back.
Oh, my gosh.
I know Shasky was really high on Jung-Hoo Lee. I was excited about what he could be down the line, but I always looked at Jung-Hoo Lee as having kind of my prediction with him was going to be a similar career arc as Ha-Sung Kim down in San Diego, where the first year it was really bad. The second year is better. This year, Kim looks like one of the better shortstops in the league. Yeah. I envisioned something similar for Jung-Hoo Lee. Now, if you're a Giants fan who is banging on the table saying, give me excellence right now, yeah, you're not going to be satisfied by that kind of explanation there when it comes to Jung-Hoo Lee.
Yeah,
but
I don't know.
I'm with you, Bonte. We'll see how it plays out.
Let's see how
I'm just worried that if this team does struggle down the stretch, but the young guys are playing well, like let's say they're losing games, but Kyle Harrison's pitching well, Elliot Ramos is hitting well, Tyler Fitzgerald, starts racking up more stolen bases. I am worried that ownership's going to be like, oh, well, we're seeing some development there, so come on back, Farhan.
I think that would be a PR disaster for the Giants if Farhan's back and they don't make the playoffs. That would be a PR nightmare, and that would hurt their bottom line by bringing him back. You talk about the lowest Q rating in years out here in the Bay Area for a front office exec, it's Farhan Zaidi. It is Farhan Zaidi. So you are listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HC1 San Francisco and Odyssey Sports Station, always live on the free Odyssey app. Man, a correction. I guess I've been saying it all week.